Hey everybody. There we go. Hey, I am Tammy. I'm the Siberian Wind. Yes, we are starting just a little bit early today. I originally was going to be on at 9, had to bump it to 9:15 because I knew I was going to be over on Donnell's channel, over at Donnell Stitchery. She had a fabulous live this morning, and so we are just running over. So let's get into the chat. I know the live was supposed to start at 9:15, but we're going to go ahead and get going now. Let's see. I have got, who all do I have? I've got Michelle's Craft some more. Good morning. I've got Denise So Patch. Hello to you too. I've got Donnell already saying, hey everyone. She's refilling her coffee and she will be back. Giovanna, hey everyone. Hi Giovanna. Guess who, Nancy? Hi y'all. We have Katie Crafts. Good morning. She says hi everyone. And we have Laura Sup. Good morning all. Good morning Laura. And I am so sorry you guys. I just realized I am yelling. I will calm down in 2 seconds. I promise. So we've got Maritza Yarns and Crafts going ahola. Good morning to you, Maritza. We've got Mitzi saying hello. Good morning, Mitzi. Chloe. Good morning, Tammy and everyone. Thank you, Chloe. I am so glad you are here. I've got Lori saying hi again. Hi for the first time. Hi, Tammy. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, I'm running around. Hi, Don. Glad you are here. He says good morning, everyone. All right, so this morning I was over on Donnell's channel. If you were here yesterday for my impromptu live, that wasn't quite so impromptu. Lynn, just for the health of it, hello, good morning to you as well. I will answer that in just a minute, Giovanna. So this morning, yesterday I sewed the extra sashing pieces on to the prismatic star pieces, the diamonds for that. And I took the time this morning on Donnell's live to go ahead and get these pressed. So they are all pressed. So now I get to trim off the dog ears and trim them all to the same size. I will not be doing that on today's live, but I just wanted to give you a progress update. Today, we are going to work on the Cotton Cut Puzzle Mystery Quilt Tree of Life, and I am doing the chestnut colorway, and I'm doing it in small. So if you are a puzzle mystery quilter, this is your day. This is my first time doing a Cotton Cut Puzzle Mystery Quilt, and I am kind of loving it. It's not my colorway. It's not what I would have chosen, but I told my husband to pick something that was out of my normal, and he came through. He does that a lot. So we are working with chestnut. Giovanna says they are beautiful. Thank you, Giovanna. I appreciate it. I definitely was struggling getting awake this morning. Is it a tree? Absolutely not. I was watching Sean this morning at The Guy Who Sews, and he let us know that it seems like Cotton Cuts chooses the names for their mystery quilts to give them a way to name all of their colorways. So mine is chestnut, like the chestnut tree. There's a tranquility for a tranquility tree. So there's like themes to the colorways. But they are not, it's not going to be a tree. But yes, Chloe, you're right. It is a mystery, and it is just a general name. I know a lot of people signed up for it, so, mainly because it was called a Tree of Life, because they wanted a tree-looking quilt. It doesn't look like it's going to come up to that. I do not see a way that it could be a tree at the end, but we're just in month 3. And we got a lot to go. There's 10 months total, so, anything's game. Mitzi says, I am also doing Cotton Cuts for the first time on Clue 3. Yeah, absolutely. I've got my Clue printed out. This is not my normal print method, but it will work for today. I like it to be double-sided. Mitzi says, mine has not come yet. So mine, I ordered the entire thing at once so that I would have the box. I have had problems with U.S. Postal Service and shipping to me in the past, so I did not want to risk getting my blocks every month because I might still be waiting for Clue 2 right now. I mean, I had something that was supposed to be delivered in January, did not show up until the end of, or the middle of March. So, the post office marked it as delivered, but it wasn't actually delivered. It's just been kind of the going rate around here lately. So ordering it all at one time was the safer option for me. I know not everybody can do that, but that was what I was able to do for this one. Let's see. Chloe says they base the colorways around the theme. Yes, they do. Let's see. Andrea, howdy again, everyone. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning again. She says, I went and got all the bunnies and puggies taken care of so I could get back in for your live. Blessings, everyone. Thank you, Andrea. You flatter me. I appreciate it. Just for the health of it, Lynn says, good morning, Andrea. What kind of bunnies do you have? Chloe's saying hello to Andrea. Giovanna saying hi to Andrea. Andrea, you're the popular person today. Let's see. Andrea says they're California, New Zealand cross meat rabbits. And let's see. Missy says mine goes through Atlanta and they are having problems there. Yes. I used to live in Alabama and there was always some kind of issue. Like there was never a smooth moment, unfortunately. So Vicky, welcome to my channel. Thank you. You're a new subscriber as of this morning. She says, hi, Tammy. I had to wait 10 minutes before I could say hi. No worries. I've got it set for 5 minutes, but YouTube is kind of a pain sometimes. So that is YouTube doing that to us. Lynn says, you must be fairly rural, Tammy. I am a half mile up a mountain dirt road, and the USPS is horrible here. Actually, I am not. I am in a city of, I want to say about 58,000. I want to say Casper's that big. Don't quote me on that because I have not looked and refreshed my memory. But, Casper's not that small of a city. We're the second largest in Wyoming. I mean, that says a lot because it is Wyoming. But yeah, it's not that bad. It's just that our post office for my apartment complex has been less than stellar for their track record. Let's see. Lynn says, "Ooh, I'm looking to add meat rabbits to the homestead." Yes, Andrea does raise those. She has been doing that for a while, and she was actually explaining to us the process of, how long it takes for the babies to get grown enough to join the cycle for that. That's awesome. Or did I watch somebody else's channel? Maybe I watched somebody else's channel after talking to Andrea. Terry, hi again, Tammy. Hi again to you as well. Thank you for joining in. Let me move my camera, you guys. I'm going to have to adjust it or my secondary camera, because I just bumped the tripod, and today has not been the day for this tripod. It's not the first time I've hit it, and it probably won't be the last. So let's see. Vicky says, "I used to raise Angora rabbits for spinning." Ooh, I could see that. I could see that being a deal. Giovanna says, "Ladies, I don't eat rabbit." No worries, Giovanna. No harm. Everybody gets to eat what they would choose. Lynn says, "Oh, wow, that is not good on U.S. Postal Service." No, not really. Giovanna says, "I thought Italian Post was bad, but apparently it is quite good. Anything has got to be better than U.S. Postal Service right now." Just going to say it that way. All right, so I'm going to bring you guys over to the machine, and my arm is in the way off and on, and I will be getting my Dr. Pepper, so, I'm still working on my caffeine this morning. So let's see, self-sustainability and spinning would be great. I would be interested in the spinning. I am not much of a cook to begin with, so fixing something that I have, even if I've grown it for the purposes of eating it, just fixing something that is, I am a store shopper. I'll put it that way. It's not that I am against it. It is that I have no skill set when it comes to anything like that. Vicky says, "Hi, Chloe and Loretta. Hello again, watching the fun. Good morning, Loretta. You are a winning lady. You are going to be the next one in line. Andrea has been a winning lady, so her luck is rubbing off on you." All right, so in this puzzle mystery quilt, let me bring this over the camera so you guys can see what we are doing. If you have not already seen all the sneak peeks that people have posted, there are going to be 4 of these units for the small that we are creating. So it is 3 flying geese units to make 1 unit. I do apologize that camera is not focusing. Again, it has been a morning for this particular camera. So it is 3 flying geese units stacked on top of each other. So that's what we're going to make this morning. Let's see. Laura says, "I am doing 2 large puzzle mystery quilts. This is my first time. I have the chestnut and the tranquil colorways." I am excited to see how I'm going to change my stitch, you guys. I tried out one the other day, and I am going to continue to try that stitch out. I am excited to see how the Tranquil Large looks compared to the Chestnut Large, how it compares to the Chestnut Small. That's going to be kind of interesting to see what it's going to come out to be. Andrea says, "I have 3 that did not get sold. They'll be going to freezer camp soon, and 8 that are 3 weeks old and 8 that are 2 weeks old. Typically, it takes 3 months from birth to freezer or selling weight." Okay, that was right. It's fairly short turnaround time. That's kind of what rabbits are really good at, and if I'm not mistaken, they're lean as well. So it's a healthier meat than some of the fattier options that are available. Terry says, I am also working on my first Cotton Cuts PMQ. I'm doing the Autumn Shades Small. Ooh, I bet that's going to be gorgeous. Um, a friend of mine locally wanted to do the puzzle mystery quilt, and she said she would do it because she wanted to do it if I would join her and do it as well. So here I am joining her for that, as she's getting to do her clues first, and I hold off on doing mine until she has done hers. That way, if she does run into any kind of problems, I can help sort through what her problems are. So yeah, we are doing it that way, as she has not had a problem yet. Let's see. Lynn says it's very difficult to grow and process your own protein. I still cry with chicken, but my goal here is to feed me and the dogs mostly for my own land. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, mine wouldn't be the issue of crying about the animal, because I know that's what it's for. My issue is just the physical aspects of processing. My disabilities make some tasks a little bit harder than others. So the tasks required for processing meat would be where I would struggle before anything else. Let's see. Lynn is asking Andrea if those breeds are okay for cold winters. I know most don't like the heat. Vicky says, Lynn, I guess rabbits can be a good source of protein. Yeah, they definitely could be. Mitzi, hello, or back, hello again. That's okay, Mitzi. Good morning again. See, you guys, I got up and actually caught Sean's live this morning. I caught his second live. Apparently he had something going on during the first one and had to pause and come back. I do not know why, because I didn't catch it, but I literally went from his live, watching his live, to being on Donnell's live, to now being here. I have been going nonstop from the moment that I opened my eyes this morning. I was still in bed when I caught Sean's live this morning. And got up and got the dog walked and all of that during Sean's live. I took him with me. Let's see. All right. I would go fishing. I don't have problems with that. Oh, that makes sense. I have not fished in a really long time. I wouldn't say that I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say that I don't, because I just haven't done it. The last time I fished for catfish when I was really little. As in, I still thought fish would be cuddly and cute, and you cannot be cuddly and cute with catfish. It is very painful to be cuddly and cute with catfish. So I was not allowed to touch the fish or anything else. So I think I have caught a fish, but there's no pictures, there's no proof. So I don't know if I did or not. But I'm willing to try it again. I will try anything once. Okay, let me rephrase. I will try most anything once. All right. So Donnell says, hey, I'm back. Girl, you're going to be ready for a nap afterwards. I do not have time for a nap today, Donnell. I have an event that I am working this evening. And so I have to get a lot of other stuff handled before the event. Stuff that I've forgotten about until late last night. Too late to do anything about it. So I can't do that. I was on Leanna's live, then Donnell's, now here. I love it, Mitzi. Thank you for coming over to join here. Donnell said, hey, Vicky was washing dishes and my tumbler of water. Oh, no worries. Mitzi said, I missed it. What do you raise? Andrea raises rabbits. She is a rabbit farmer, so to speak. She has a lot of other things she does, but she is well known in our community for raising meat rabbits. And so she has their entire life cycle and processes down, and all of that is set. She's really good at it. And let's see. Andrea says, I'm a fisherwoman too. Other than sewing, I'd rather be fishing and camping. I can see that. I would be a camper a little, probably, but I would have to take some hand sewing with me. I am too much of a fabric and thread person to get too far away from a sewing machine or a needle and thread. That is so much my passion. I can't get enough of it. Vicky says I was really into bass fishing, but in Idaho we had mostly salmon. I did not know you lived in Idaho, Vicky. That is awesome. I know you're in Michigan now, but we considered moving to Idaho before we considered Wyoming. Let's see. Mitzi says I need to sew and starch today. Yeah, yeah. I need my sewing time in, especially before I get going with all of the other fluff of the day. I need time with Beauty. I need time with her. I will miss her dearly. Lori says I just went fishing last week. I could do that every day of the week. See, I would have to actually go fishing as an adult to know whether or not it would be calming enough for me to go regularly. And I would have to see whether or not my dog would settle to go fishing. He loves the water so much that when I've been in a canoe or a kayak, he is actively trying to jump out to go swimming. That is his love. He is a lab. He is a water dog. He is a water dog at heart, at mind, at soul, at fur. He is a water dog. All right. Let's see. I love going fishing, but I always throw back when I'm not going to eat. That makes sense. Giovanna says, Donnell, I used to fish in Kenya when I was small, yonkers ago. All right. Vicky said, yes, I lived in Idaho for over 25 years. I really miss Idaho. Yeah, each state has their own culture and their own environment. And it is, definitely each state has their own their own feel. It's so unique. It's almost like we are our own countries because it is just so different. I think I like this stitch, you guys. So I joined a Bernina sewing machine group on Facebook, and I've been there for a while. And somebody was mentioning the other day that there is actually a specific stitch for quilting, for like piecing or whatever, and it doesn't pull the fabric like a like, if I can think, like stitch number 1 does, like the basic stitch does. Let's see, Andrea, my dream would be, let me move this over. Hang on, you guys. That way I don't keep having to click with stuff. My dream would have an RV that I could take Nellie and some fabric and notions with me so I could sew when the weather was not conducive to fishing. Yes, I would have to do something along those lines. I would not take Beauty. She's too big and too expensive. I would love to have another featherweight to take with me. Absolutely. Giovanna says he would scare the fish. Probably. Mitzi says my dog loves to dig in the sand and eat fish. He grew up in Nantucket when he was a puppy. So my boy will dig in the sand, but only if there's a ball involved. He's not that big of a digger, but he will dig. He definitely will. All right, I'm going to see if this will give you guys the view of what I am pressing. All right, there's going to be a little bit of a view. It's not going to be the greatest, but you guys will get to see what I'm doing. Andrew says that I've lived in almost all the states due to being an Air Force brat. I call Missouri my home state. I really miss 4 seasons, but my husband is a Texan and will never live where it is cold. Oh, goodness. Well, I guess Wyoming is out. It does get cold here. It definitely does. All right, so I am going to add steam to my pieces. I'm not adding a lot. I'm not drenching it, but I am going to add steam, and I'm going to set my seams. These are all sewn on the bias, you guys. So, let me figure out my camera. There we go. Okay. So these are all sewn on the bias, so I want to make sure not to stretch them. And it's really easy to stretch these as you are pressing. So this is not my normal ironing board, you guys. This is my small tray table ironing board. And yes, it does need a new cover. I will be recovering it soon. I kind of spilled a little too much starch on it. So it does need some TLC. All right, so I'm going to look real quick at which direction they want these pressed. Okay, they're all pressed out towards the triangles, the small ones. That's good. All right. So what all plans does everybody have for this weekend? Lynn is asking, so wait, what stitch did you switch to, Tammy? All right, so on an on a computerized machine, mine is the B770 Quilters Edition. You can select the Quilters menu on the far right. I am using stitch 1324. It is a straight stitch. It looks, a little different from the regular straight stitch, but it is still a straight stitch. My normal stitch 1 is a 2.5 stitch length, and this 1324 is also a 2.5. However, the tension has been adjusted for me automatically. So I could set my tension on the machine lower, but I have not done that. I'm not going to. So my stitch 1, my tension is, let me go back to it, it is a 5.25. When I select 1324, it's still that 2.5 stitch length, but it is a 4.0 tension. So if you have a computerized Bernina and you want to adjust your tension, you can adjust it down and it should achieve the same effect. Somebody was saying that it is a presser foot tension difference or presser foot difference, and it is not. It is a thread tension difference. Let's see, I'm moving a couple. I got to go back and catch up. Donnell says, okay, she's telling about the craft show. My oldest granddaughter lives in Montana and sends me snow pictures all the time. I have not visited Montana in a long time. It's not that far away. I mean, nothing from Casper is technically that far away. We're in the center of Wyoming. So we can go to Colorado, South Dakota, Nebraska, Utah, Idaho, Montana. We can go all of those directions in about the same amount of time. It's not like we live at one end of the state or whatever. Let's see, Vicky, I do miss Kenya. We even had a wild monkey in our garden. My mom used to give her an egg a day so she wouldn't steal the eggs from the chickens. Oh, I love that. Those are the kind of stories that I am just amazed by. Like, those warm my heart. That is hilarious. Sewing, watching lives, and chatting with all my wonderful friends in the chats. Absolutely. I feel like your husband, but I still miss Idaho. Yeah. So Vicky, you're in Michigan, so you're still getting it cold. It's not. It's going to be cold in Michigan, just like it is here, just like it would be in Idaho. Let's see, what else am I missing? It's hard to chat, and so I found my fingers just are not that talented. Andrea, if I actually had to physically type, then yeah, it would not be that easy. But that I can just tell you guys what I'm reading and seeing and what I want to say, that makes it so much easier. Vicky says, I can't do both either, but when this is over, I have to get back to sewing. Yeah, today is a sewing day. Today is definitely a sewing day. Mitzi says, I was told by Bernina to use 1326 for standard quilting. It has tighter stitches. So 1326 on my machine has the same tension. It is still at 4.0 tension. Okay, but it is a 2.0. I will try that on the other side of these and see what I feel like on that. I really wasn't, when I started looking at it and trying to swap over, I really wasn't paying attention. And when I heard or read about it initially, years and years ago, because I knew that we had quilting stitches on our machines, I thought it was just for when you layer to actually quilt through all the layers. not that you're supposed to use it for piecing, but other people are saying that yes, you do use them for piecings, and it creates a different effect, and it's much more stable. So we're gonna try it and see. Vicky says, Tammy, there are no mountains or even hills where I am. Yeah, I love the mountains. I love them. And let's see. Okay, I have a computerized baby lock Allegro. I bought it 2 weeks ago, so I'll have to go check out my stitches. My first real machine. Lol. That's funny, Lynn. Yeah, it's amazing how much having a specific machine is either a benefit or a disadvantage. How we view our machines. We can either view them as a betterment or as a decrease. And it's amazing how that works. Yes, it is a 2.0. Vicky says, Giovanna, I'm a quarter French and the rest is English, Swedish, Dutch, Norwegian. Okay, so English, Swedish, Dutch, Norwegian. Okay, so you're a quarter French. So 3/4 is divided up into 4. Okay, I will do math on that later, Vicky, because that is an interesting point. Lynn says that she lives almost exactly between Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier. I'm in the mountains. Yes, you are. Other quilters have agreed with the 1326. Yeah, I will try that. I mean, this was 1324, which is the 2.5, which was what I was stitching with to begin with. So yeah, it's a change. All right, so one thing I'm going to do, so you guys watched me, I have just pressed with a little bit of steam, so 1326 for piecing. Okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm going to try. That's going to be my next one. All right, so I do have an Acorn Easy Press pen. This does have starch. I loaded it up this morning. And yes, I do go heavy on my starch, but I'm making sure that I'm not going to pull my fabric. My ironing board is really, really hot, you guys. I have silver fabric in there, and I have batting, so it is reflecting off. So my entire surface is like incredibly warm. So we are going to add starch to just the seam. And this is my personal starch mixture. It is not quite it's not a half mixture of the Stay Flow starch. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay. So yeah, that is okay. There we go. That is perfectly flat. Perfectly flat. Okay, so we're going to do that for the rest of these as well. So I'm doing that without starching. And I spilt it everywhere. I didn't spill that much. I spilt like maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. Like it's literally it, but it's just messy when you spill it at all. And my pen this morning, for some reason, was wanting to not cooperate with me. So I want to see my starch when I put it out there. So I am a heavy starcher. And it is not liking me this morning. I may change my nib around and try the other tip. Because I think that my nib is not cooperating with me. Just teasing. Oh, you're fine, Giovanna. No pressure, no worries. Vicky says, Lynn, I am so glad that you live near Idaho. I wish I could see where you live. I have a friend who lives in the Seattle area and she teaches fiber art and quilting. Ooh. So I have family that also lives in the Seattle area. I just don't talk to them very frequently. I have never wanted to live in the Seattle area. It is too wet, too moist there. Just not going to do it. Puget Sound, Islands, and Whidbey Island. Yeah, no, I'm not doing the island life. I am over the island life. Biloxi, Mississippi was as close to island life as I'm ever going to get. All right, we're changing the tip around, you guys. I feel like it's just not pulling in the starch. So, oh yeah, now that's pulling in the starch like it should be. So, I may need to order replacement nibs, you guys. I may see if I can wash them. I may see if I can wash it. Has anybody ever tried to wash the nibs from the Acorn Easy Press pens? Giovanna, I guess I'm basically a quarter and then a Heinz mixture. You're a Heinz 57, Vicky. Giovanna, have you tried getting a syringe without a needle to refill it? A syringe without a needle? I have not. But what I did this morning really did work. It was just when I went to attach the lid, it was still too much liquid. So it was fine until I went to attach the lid. So let me get this one going. I can't see this on this fabric, this starch. I'm having to feel for it. All right. So when you fill these Acorn Easy Press pens, you are unscrewing this end right here, the back end, and you are filling it in. And I unfilled it, like I filled it up to the threads, and then I unfilled it a little bit, and it still was not enough. It needed a little bit more room, so I needed to probably only fill it to about here versus filling it up to the threads. So that was my bad. I'm still learning. It's the second time I've used it. I meant to use it last month with the Cotton Cuts mystery, and I forgot. So yeah, your bad spelling's fine. I can figure it out. It just takes me a second. She actually lives up north from Seattle. When I say I'm in Washington, people say, "Oh, Seattle." Yes, I can imagine that they do. You know, there have been people that I've said, "Well, I live in Wyoming," and they immediately assume Cheyenne, because that's a lot of people. That's the only city in Wyoming that they are familiar with, unless they have lived in or near Wyoming. Like, especially people from the southeast, when I told them I was moving to Wyoming, they said, "Oh, what part of Cheyenne are you going to move to?" Like Cheyenne was the entire state. Andrea says, "I've washed mine. I'm ordering a gallon of Best Press and new nibs today from Fat Quarter Shop." So I actually stopped using Best Press. Andrea, I do not use Best Press anymore. So Best Press tends to take a while to dry. And like this would not be dry by now using Best Press. And I used it in Alabama, and then I brought it with me because I had a gallon jug, and I brought it with me to Wyoming, and I was still having the same problem. So it wasn't a climate issue, like, because I figured maybe it was just the humidity in Alabama. And no, it was literally that it was just not drying for me fast enough for my taste. I want to be able to starch and for my starch to dry. And I did grow up learning to press and starch with traditional starch. So my tendencies lean towards following the protocols you would use for starch versus Best Press. So I don't use Best Press because I can't anymore. I end up giving the last of mine away. It has nothing to do with the fact that I live in Italy. I never learned to spell. However, I'm very good at maths. You know, there is nothing wrong with not knowing how to spell or not knowing which way to spell something or something like that. I think the only people who are mean or rude about it are the people who don't understand that not every brain thinks the same way. And you know, you had the challenge of learning 2 languages versus just learning one. So the fact that you are as fluent in English as you are and having a second language, I don't mind. I will figure it out one way or the other. If you can get it phonetically, so I can, you know, if I know how you think it should sound, I can pronounce it out in my head, and I'll figure it out. That's not an issue. I do not mind. I do, if I give somebody grief about like there, and there, or they, them. If I give somebody grief about a word that could be spelled multiple ways, um, then it is only because I know them and I'm going to give them grief just because I can, not because it matters, not because I actually have an issue with it. Vicky says, Giovanna, I was making a pincushion last night, got halfway around the yo-yo before I realized I had no thread in the needle. Oh no, Vicky. You gotta have thread in the needle. The needle does not work without thread. Well, unless you're needle felting. But the needle does not typically work without thread. You kind of do need thread in it. Oh. And then Vicky says I have the same problem with spelling, and way back when I was a star student in both high school and college, but the older I got, the worse it gets. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, we all have cell phones now, and autocorrect gets the best of us. And sometimes autocorrect knows what we're trying to say, and sometimes it doesn't. I went to type the word edamame yesterday, and it corrected to damage. So apparently my autocorrect does not know the word edamame because I don't type it very frequently. But I went to type that, and it typed damage, and I had to go back and fix it. And then the person I was texting sent back that they like edamame, and their phone did the same thing and texted back damage. I was like, oh, I know exactly what you were saying. It was so funny. But yeah, I have no issues with that. We need numbers more than words in quilting anyways, Giovanna. You are absolutely right. You speak 3 languages, Giovanna: Swahili, Italian, and English. My goodness. My hat's off to you. I'm not wearing a hat, or I would physically take it off. I can't. I thought originally at one point that I would go into languages in college, and I quickly changed my mind and decided I really didn't want to speak all that much, and my job would involve a lot of speaking, and no, I just decided that speaking that much was not for me. So it did me no good to learn a whole bunch of languages to try to get a job as like an interpreter or something. So yeah, my family history, nobody in my family does well with languages. I am the exception to that rule, but I do not have anything but basic Spanish. Like I can't carry on a conversation in Spanish. I can pick up a few words here and there, and I can tell if someone is speaking Spanish most of the time. But beyond that, I don't have use for it in my life normally. Let's see. Let's see. I failed Spanish and was asked to give up trying to learn French. I do okay just speaking English. Vicky, my mom took French, and I have a friend who is doing the like Duolingo or something like that, one of those kinds of language programs or something, to learn French. And so she was talking to me in French to practice her French. And I'm just looking at her dumbfounded because I have no idea what she's saying. She could be speaking perfect French, or she could be speaking some kind of obliterated version that is horrendous to the French ear. And I would have no way to know. The thing that is that if you look at languages, we have a lot of words that are similar. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And especially when there's the cultures that cross over. So, for example, the closer you live to the Canadian border, the more likely you are to learn or have use for French and have that exposure as a child. And the closer you live to the Mexican border here in the United States, the more likely you are to have experience and need that exposure to Spanish. And so you're likely going to have more instances where you can actually utilize your language skills. And especially the younger you start trying to learn your language skills, the better it is. Andrea says, my husband was in special forces in the Army. He learned Russian and German there. His native languages are Spanish and Italian. I get tickled at him because when he gets mad, he cusses in all of them at the same time. Oh, I could just imagine. Oh, the things his brain is doing to him. Oh, the poor man. All right, I'm going to bring you guys off of the ironing board so I can move the camera without making you guys sick. Vicky says, I met my French relatives and had no idea what they were saying. I was very embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed by something like that. I mean, if that's not your native tongue, you're not going to have any clue. And that is perfectly okay. Now, they might give you grief, but not here. Not on a quilting channel. You have no need for doing the other languages here at my channel. Yeah, I would get in trouble too, Lynn. I would be totally laughing. Giovanna says cussing in Italian is well, just don't do it at me and we're good. Because if I ever figure out what you just said, that's when I'm going to either laugh my tail off or I am going to be completely flustered and upset. All right. So I've already got all of those pressed now. And I pressed them with that Easy Start or Easy Press pen. So they are super, super flat. I mean, you guys, it's like paper flat. They're awesome. And they stand up. They stand up. I mean, I couldn't stand them up from here because no seam, but I can stand them up from the seam and they kind of stand up. So there are two different ones. There are ones with this fabric. I'm going to set those aside because there's fewer number of those. So they are all going to one side so that they all get the same triangle unit added to them. All right, so all these are the first fabric. So that's what I'm going to do that. Lori says, no judgment here. Yep, no judgment. I don't mind learning new words. Just let me know what you said in English so I can brain it to death, because I'm going to brain the words. Giovanna, I've been to England, France, Italy, and Ireland. The only language I understood was the Mass in Italy. I would probably have my best luck in Spain because, again, I did learn some Spanish. And I did not learn Mexican Spanish. I actually learned Spain Spanish. My school was a very, very small private school, and the teacher believed that we needed to know basic Spanish, like from Spain versus Mexican Spanish. Mexican Spanish does have a lot of slang and twisted words that you will not find in the regular Spanish language. So when somebody is from a Latina country or a Latin country here in this part of the globe, they tend to have words that I would not know. I would have no basis for knowing them. I will say I do when I walk into a place that has signs in multiple languages, I do specifically look to see what the Spanish is. So I will look and see, okay, well, this is what it says in English, this is what it says in Spanish. I recognize these words, and then I try to pronounce in my head the Spanish phrasing. So it's just keeping my brain sharp. Not that I'm going to use it for anything, or not that I have had any purpose to use it, but it does keep my brain sharp. So I'll do that. Let's see. I do laugh at him. He usually stops the tirade and he starts laughing at himself. That is so funny. That is absolutely hilarious, Andrea. I can just imagine. Let's see. Giovanna, let's see. We already did that. Vicky, that is because they say it in Latin. Oh, okay, the Mass. Yes, that makes sense. Giovanna says she can understand Spanish and Portuguese. I also use some French. I use logic. Yeah, I don't have enough experience to use enough logic to get that all together. Andrew says, is never me he is mad at, usually something over something political. If he was mad at me, I probably would cower in the corner because of PTSD from past abusive husbands. That is definitely rough, Andrea. I am with you on that. Um, yeah, my heart goes out to you because I have been in similarly difficult situations, and it is very much a challenge of the brain to turn that reaction off, if it is even possible. Let's see, 100 to me kids. So it's not happening here much anymore at Mass. Yeah. Andrea said it took me a long time to realize he was not mad at me. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit of a discussion, and it is off quilting, and I am so sorry that it is off quilting, you guys. If there is ever a time where you are in a situation that is not safe, whether it is a spouse, a child, a parent, a loved one of any sort, if you are ever in a situation that is not safe in your home, there may not be much I can do from a distance, but you are welcome to reach out to me. I have been there. I have been through that. I have been through a lot of struggles that would allow me to relate to you, even if our struggles weren't identical. I've been through a lot of struggles, and my channel and my contact information is always a safe place to turn. I will not ever release anyone's information to anyone else without their express written consent. I believe in the utmost level of privacy, and you are safe here. You will always be safe around me. That is yeah, you are safe around me no matter what. There was a program, and I do not know if it's still active, so you guys would have to help me with that. There's a program offered by Allstate. It was called the Purple Purse Initiative, and it was highlighting the fact that not all abuse and not all situations like that are physical. Not all of them are something that you can see the bruises for. Hi, Katie. Glad you are here. You caught the deep part of the conversation for the day today. The Purple Purse Initiative, it from Allstate when it was initiated, and again, I don't know if it is still active, so I couldn't tell you. It was designed to bring awareness that there is such a thing as financial abuse. And that is where I got caught between financial and psych with my first. And I will always be the safe spot for you to come to. Even if it is just you need to vent to help get your thoughts clear, I will find a place to make room for it. I never want another person, man, woman, child, anything, to go through any of what I went through previously. And you are safe here. You are always safe here. Okay, so spiel over. Let's bring on to some happier commentary here in just a second. I'm going to read a comment. Yes, Andrea, I understand how that can happen. It is definitely so tough to get out of that cycle and to realize that situations are not where you need to be and where you want to be. Mitzi says that she totally agrees. I'm a nurse and have been through this, so if anyone wants to reach out to me, I can be confidential and I can understand. Yes, absolutely. Lynn says, thank you. That's wonderful and kind of you. Um, and everybody else is reaching out and pouring out as well. I don't want to go into too much detail about my past experiences because it is definitely traumatic, just like anyone else's experiences in an abusive situation will be. With my first relationship, first marriage, I was in an abusive marriage. And I started working for someone. Pam's Handmade. Hi, just found your channel. Love how caring you are. Well, thank you, Pam. This is me every day. Normally, I don't go into this kind of spiel because I know it is heavy content. But it came up and it is very necessary to discuss. I don't want anyone to feel like this is a trivial moment because it's not. But there are so many different forms of abuse that a person can go through. I went through the abuse at home. I was getting abused at work and did not know it, did not realize it, did not have any clue whatsoever. When that marriage ended, I searched out for another husband. I mean, I was searching for a partner, but I found a husband and I was basically free babysitting. And I was still working for the same people that were abusing me at work. And then what I didn't realize, and it took me years. Once my husband and I got married, my current husband, once he and I got married, it took me probably the first 3 years of us being married for me to realize and to be able to look back with perfect vision back at my history and see how many facets of my life were abusive. My first husband was abusive. I knew he was abusive. I could see it. It was plain as day. It wasn't the physical bruises, but it was everything but. My workplace was abusive because they were taking advantage of everything. Mitzi says, I didn't know how bad it was until I got out. Yes, that right there. That is the comment. That is the comment. Absolutely. When I left that first marriage, I was still working for the same people that were abusing me. If I had moved and completely started my life over, my life might be different. My life might have been different. I'll put it that might have been different, but I didn't. I stayed for a lot of different reasons. And the second marriage I got into, it was not the same kind of abuse. It was a lot slower, a lot more methodical, a lot more toxic than what I ever thought I would end up being. And it turned me into someone that I didn't recognize just as much as it hurt me at the same time. If you guys had met me, let's say a decade ago, I would still be the loving, caring person that you know, but I would not be bubbly, able to be light about things, able to enjoy myself, able to enjoy living. My life was dramatically different even 10 years ago. So it took me, like I said, about 3 years of my husband and I being married before I realized just what kind of danger zone I had been in for over a decade. It was about 12 years. You got put in timeout and didn't know what you did. Is that from Nightbot? Let me go take a look real quick. If it's from Nightbot, Nightbot doesn't say anything. So it was a Nightbot. So that might have been, was that at home, Vicky? Andrea says that she grew up with abuse, so she did not know what a healthy relationship was like. I was molested as a child and physically as a preteen and teen, so it took that counseling to know that abuse is not normal. Yes. Think about it this way: you're a stronger person and have learned a lot. Keep strong. Remember, we love you. Yes, and that is one of the things. So the first time I drove into my driveway and thought, I'm so glad to be home, instead of what am I going to deal with today, was a big deal for me. Yes, Katie. That, oh my gosh, that. Yes. I hope that if you are going through something traumatic, abusive, difficult, any kind of grief, if you are going through that today, or if you are watching this replay, if you are going through that, there is community. Even if your community lives halfway across the country or across the globe from you, there is community. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You will be missed if you decided to do anything untoward to yourself. But you are always welcome to come hang out with me on my channel. You know, I go live regularly. And it, you know, what's so amazing and terrifying all at the same time is that out of all of the people viewing this channel right now who are alive, there are far too many stories of all of these people, all of these subscribers that have been through abusive relationships. There's got to be something that can change to prevent this from becoming the norm for our kids. You know what I mean? I don't want this for any of my kids, any of my family. I don't want any of that going on to anyone else. But it is amazing how much, especially here in the United States, because again, I am here in the United States, it is a cultural thing to... Andrea says, yes, you would be surprised how many people suffer in silence and the same. Never think you are alone. Seek people out who will let you talk when you want to. Cry on their shoulders and never be ashamed. Yes. Yes, Lynn, it breaks my heart too, because I've been through so much. I've been through so much. And I can go back and look at my childhood and see how my life was set on the path from childhood. And I'm not blaming my parents. I'm not blaming anyone, but I can see the history of my life and see that. I will have to get back to sewing, you guys. I promise I will. But I can look back through my life and see everything that led me into being where I was, going through what I had to go through. And I would not be who I am today if I had not gone through all of that. I would be a totally different person, but I might have been a totally different person to begin with that didn't let that stuff happen to myself. But our culture, especially here in the United States, it very much, especially in the Southeast where I grew up, it's pervasive of, well, you do what is right, or you do what is the family, what the family says you need to do, or you do what the Bible says you need to do, or you follow a religion or whatever. And there's all of that pressure, peer pressure, from things that may not be your friends. There's all this peer pressure to do one thing or another and to keep quiet about it because everybody's been through it. So why should you be any different? And I so want to help break that cycle. Absolutely. Okay, we are going to get back to sewing. if the abuse is never ever to end, we must be the ones to stop it. Yes, absolutely, Andrea. And that is where my heart is, because at no point does anybody need to go through what I went through, much less, what all of these other people went through. And at what point do we do, if you see something, say something, and then at what point do we say, well, somebody's bringing something up, but they don't know the situation behind it. So it's part of how our culture is right now, and how our culture has been for the last 75 plus years, where things just are not talked about. Things are not discussed. And it's not okay to, talk about it and to bring it up. Giovanna says, be right back. Absolutely, Giovanna. Today's medical, you can get through it. Yes. And I will say this, not everybody has a positive experience in counseling. I'm not saying that that is the case for everyone, and I do always recommend someone seek counseling from a licensed professional. But not everybody does receive the proper counseling services that they need. And not everybody benefits from counseling the same way. So if you strike out with one counselor or two counselors, don't give up. You may just need to find a different avenue to find the proper licensed counseling. But I do recommend finding a licensed counselor. Oh, that's sweet, Pam. We are the sum of our experiences. That's why I love quilting. Putting pieces into something useful and beautiful. Hard conversations, but without them, our culture does not get better. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why I love quilting as well, is when I get frustrated or I get aggravated, my response has become to shut down, where I don't say what I ought to say, or I don't do what I ought to do. I just want to crawl in a hole and disappear. That is my response. It's not a fight or flight. It's just I have to take a break. And quilting is one of the few things that, even if I have to take a break from one project, there is always another project available for me to work on that is okay, that is fine to work on, that is not stressful. Or even if it is stressful, it's therapeutic, because when you see that item completed, or you see the stack of pieces that you're cutting, grow, and your leftover fabric diminish, or you see these seams come together, you see the thread spool empty, all of those things go towards that therapeutic aspect. Counseling by someone licensed, yes, absolutely. Okay, enough. I just want to sit back and listen to Tammy. You guys are so sweet. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate it. I always want my channel to be a safe space, and I want my channel to be a welcoming place. And I know conversations like that are hard, but it's something I feel passionate enough about. I cannot let it sit and not be talked about. Making quilts and giving them to people I love is my happy place. It's a very zen place for me. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so now all the flying geese units are done. So let me bring you guys off of this camera so I can move it again. And let me take a look so I know where I'm moving it to. Because I could totally screw that up. I really could. All right, so you guys, you see how faded this is. This corner down here is not faded. So yeah, oh, you know what? I'm sitting here showing you guys my ironing board and you guys can't see it. All right, let's try this again. All right, so you see how faded it is. It is not faded down here at this corner. So yeah, it is significantly faded and does need to be redone. All right, fabric pieces. All right, so how many people in the chat are doing, I love making blocks for Donnell and the Ronald McDonald House? Yes, Vicki, absolutely. That is a lot of fun too. So I will tell you guys about my charity project, but I'm going to wait until probably May. Just because I want there to be enough break. There needs to be a little bit of a break between all of this and what I do as a charity project. So, what kind of charity projects, if you guys work on a charity project or you do something regularly that is a gift to your community or a gift to yourself, like, therapeutic for you, where you are giving, that it is not where you're giving either your time, your fabric, your supplies, whatever is involved in that. What is your typical charity project? What do you guys work on? I know Vicki was saying that she's loved making those blocks for the Ronald McDonald House, and that is a great use of time for charity projects. I normally have 1 day a week that I do donate to my charity project. I am taking a 2-month break with moving and shifting everything around. I need space to be able to work on my project, so I kind of needed the space to be able to move. So I'm taking the 2-month break. So that's why I'll discuss it in May, probably towards the end of May, starting into June. Because that's when I'm going to pick it back up. Vicki is asking Loretta if you have made blocks as well. Those blocks were so cute today. I am always so tickled to see all the different projects. Andrea says quilts for women's and homeless shelters. That is awesome. So are those quilts do they want throw quilts or twin size, or what kind of sizes do you make for that project? Lori says, right now I'm sewing Christmas stockings for kids. Oh, now that is awesome. That means you get Christmas all year. That is so cool. So cool. I do have a couple of Christmas stockings that I need to pull back out and finish. And once they are finished, they will be up for grabs because I don't need them. Loretta says that she's making the Ronald McDonald blocks now. Lynn says, before I found quilting, I did fundraising for American Cancer Society. As a cancer survivor, they supported me greatly during my treatment. I found a charity for cancer patients that accepts quilts. Oh, that's sweet. I bet that is a lot of, you get to be creative with that too. There's a lot that you can do with that. Vicky says, I never thought about the women and homeless folk. Yeah, so here's what I will say about that. Check with your local women's, children's, and homeless shelters and ask them what their needs are. I know that some shelters are able to accept quilts. Some shelters may not be able to. So as with that charity project and with any others, please call ahead and make sure that who you want to make a quilt or a charity project for is able to accept your project. You don't want to make something and put all this time and effort into it and then get disappointed because you're not able to leave it with them because they will not accept that. I know some charities or whatever have gone to accepting only cash donations so that they can actually get what they need at the moment that they need it. So just double check with them for that purpose. Let's see. I never thought of, let's see. Andrea says, often women leave with nothing, so I want them to have something of their very own, usually a twin. Okay, that sounds good. Loretta says, I make quilts for nursing home, also just for comfort. That's very sweet, Loretta. Andrea says, before I retired, I ran a donation center for our local shelter, so I have good contacts. Yes. So I guess the thing would be is if you cannot donate in your local area, um, if we need to reach out and form a network to funnel things to where they can be best used, if they cannot be used in your local community, then that is also something I am willing to get behind completely. Hi, Charlotte. Glad you are here. I just saw your message. Um, Vicky says, I thought I might make some quilts for the seniors in the nursing homes. Yes. Double check with the nursing homes that you want to send them to, Vicky. Because, again, they may have specific requests or requirements. Because they may have other people also doing the same donations as well. And you don't want to have everything sitting in a closet in storage because they don't have a need for it. So you want to make sure what their needs are. Lynn says, yes, during chemo, you get very cold sitting in the chair, and most centers will take new blankets, quilts, and Afghans. Oh, yeah, I believe it. So I get my infusions at an oncology center. And I do get offered a blanket. I think they always bring me like a fleece blanket, but it's always kept in the warmer. But I haven't thought about whether or not they would want quilts instead of that. I don't know what's easier for them for laundry purposes. So I would have to check with them. Let's see. Lynn says, okay, I read that one. My local's women's shelter will not accept anything but cash. Yes, Lynn, that is, I know that is a growing trend. Again, it isn't because they wouldn't want the quilt. It's because that's not the primary needs that they have, and they need to be able to fill the primary needs that they have. Vicky, my spelling is getting worse. Tammy, that's okay. That is okay. Andrea is not. Andrea is in Texas, Vicky. She's not in Michigan. She said her husband would not handle the gold. Loretta says they love them and they don't have to be perfect. They can hold them and are thankful. That is so sweet. That is so sweet. The pen that I am just using, it's called an Acorn Easy Press pen. Let's see if I can get it in the camera. There we go. Acorn Precision Piecing Products. But if you look up Acorn Easy Press Pen, it will be available. You can get it through Amazon. This is the back end of my nib. The other end I had to put in, and then you fill at this end. And you do want to empty it after you're done because it will dry out. Spell check is bad for me, yeah. I don't go through a specific organization, but I donate quilts and Afghans to the NICU because my daughter is a nurse there. The families appreciate them during a really difficult time. Chloe says, I'm loving your colorway. Thank you. You can thank my husband for that. I gave him the task of choosing my colorway and putting me into something I normally wouldn't touch. And yeah, he did. He got me down to a T. This is not a colorway I would have normally expected or picked for myself. Vicky says, well, I guess I will just keep making blocks from now. Now, there's nothing wrong with that either, Vicky. And you may find another project that you want to donate additional time to, or you may shift, what your focus is, as time goes on. It's entirely up to you. Charity time should be time that you enjoy donating. I will say that as well, because if you are donating time for a charity project, I would want you to enjoy it. I would not want you to be very disappointed in how much time you're spending on a charity project, because then you're not putting your love into it. You're just putting time and stress into it, and that's not a good vibe. Andrea said, I just heard from my first pattern tester on the pattern she tested for me. She sent me a picture of her quilt and it's beautiful. I am so excited. I have 3 more testers, then I will be releasing it. Andrea, if you would like, when you get that released, or when you are doing your release party, if you would like to come on and talk about it and show it and all of that, I would love to have you. Just give me exclusive rights, just give me exclusive rights. Giovanna says I'm preparing more blocks to send to Debbie. That's awesome. Let's see. She says still taking the blocks on it. Yeah, for right now she is. Well, where will you be selling your pattern, Andrea? Lynn wants to know, as do the rest of the inquiring minds out there. We all want to know where you'll be selling your pattern. I need to figure out where mine's going to be sold to. Giovanna has some laughs. Vicky is saying she can hardly wait to see him, Andrea. I'm excited for you. That is awesome. So my Fat Quarter Friendly project is going to be a free project, so you guys won't have to pay for it. But I am going to start working on some more paid patterns, as probably on Etsy as a download. I agree with Charlotte. She says, that is exciting, Andrea. I agree. I definitely agree. All right. This pen is doing such a wonderful job, you guys. These are coming out so flat. The pen that I'm using, Vicky, I think I've gone over it a couple of times now. It is the Acorn Easy Press pen. It is, it just has like kind of like a marker tip in it, kind of like you would find on like maybe a dry erase marker, that kind of tip in it. And it has starch in here. I put starch in there this morning. And so it is just putting just enough starch right where I need it. Let's see. That is so sweet of you, Len. She says, nice. I will keep an eye out for it. Love to support you all how I can. Thank you. Yep. So, Len, last Tuesday, I don't think you were in my live, and I don't know if you caught the replay. Last Tuesday, I had everybody vote on whether my next pattern release, my next free pattern release, would be a Fat Quarter friendly project or a Jelly Roll friendly project. And it is going to be a Fat Quarter friendly project. I will be releasing it in 2 sizes. It will be a throw size. I will do the throw size, but I will also release a king size version. So you guys can do it as a smaller quilt or as a much larger quilt. So you can do either option. And Andrea, I do still have to look at my repeat on it, so that way you can compare on your Fat Quarters. Did you say the other day how many Fat Quarters you got for that king size? Like, do you have some that you can eliminate if need be? Is that something that you're able to do with it? And I guess there is another way it would work where you wouldn't have to have as much background. Let's see. Written patterns for my own use for several decades, but I decided to write patterns when I did not feel like sewing. My mind works differently than most, so I want them tested first. And no worries, Andrea. I get you on that. I get you. Lynn says, I have not been in the weekday lives lately. I left retirement 3 weeks ago to buy a long arm. Ooh, that's exciting. Why do I use so much starch, Tammy? I want these seams to lay as flat as possible. This fabric from Cotton Cuts is gorgeous and soft and very, 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 very flexible. It's very, very soft. I mean, it's pettable fabric. But that also means that, especially on these bias edges, they are going to pull and stretch and all of that. The starch prevents it from stretching. So if you notice when I lay it down, I am only dabbing. Now I am pressing because I like heavier starch, but I am not shifting my fabric at all. I am just getting it wet with starch so that it's not going to shift. And then I am just setting my iron on it. I am using a little bit of steam just because I do, but I am pressing, not ironing. So I'm not like moving or shifting it. So the starch is going to keep those seams from shifting and pulling on me. So everything will be the same size. Loretta says my projects are with 42 by 42 at least. Also, nursing homes are 52 by 60. I buy all my materials, so it's according to what I have. I also do VA quilts in West Virginia. That is awesome. Now, that is another project I also do work on, is I work on quilts of valor. I have deep respect for our military, and I feel like each veteran should be honored with a quilt. And they're not charities quilt in that respect. However, all of my time and energy and all of that is donated free of charge. So, it's not like they're not having to pay anything for their quilts. Andrea says, I do not have as many as you stated I would need, so I would need to buy more. Have to buy more. I'm not counting, but probably 20 or so. Okay, so for the king size, you need, for the print, you would need 28. So you would only need to buy 8 more. But again, I'm going to get you the repeat information by Tuesday, so you can decide if any of the ones that you have need to be weeded out. And then for background, apparently my husband's up and he closed my door. I didn't realize. So my the background, you will need also another 28. So you'll need a total of 56 fat quarters. You've only used starch when I had my embroidery machine. Yeah, I grew up using starch as a staple of my sewing studio, my sewing experience. And it really does make a difference, but especially in quilting, I want everything to lay flat. Lynn says, I thought it was worth going back to work for a few months. I don't have room either. It is smack in the middle of my living room right now. Now, I don't know, Lynn, if you follow Tiffany's Quilting Life. Her long arm is also on a frame, and it is in her living room as well. So you would not be alone. If I were to try to get a frame long arm, it would also be in the middle of my living room. I do not have room in the studio for it. My long arm sits in and I'll actually show you guys, kind of. All right, so you'll have to bear with because the light is bright from outside, okay? This is my long arm right here, and it is in a table. It came with a table. These right here are quilts that I need to quilt. So I sit over here in this area. Okay, so I'm going to move this camera. I apologize, you guys. Please don't watch it too closely. I don't want you sick. All right, so we have now moved the camera again. Okay. All right, let's see. My sister and her hubby would never allow me to have a long arm, so I either have to hand quilt or try to machine quilt. Yeah, so my long arm that I've got is a sit-down long arm. With a sit-down long arm, you do have the flexibility that if I wanted to put my machine on that table, it would just be that one dining room size table for my long arm and my regular machine. So something like that would work for smaller spaces like this is, and possibly smaller spaces like what you might have. Let's see. Hers is at least sort of on the wall. Mine is literally in the middle. That's okay. One of the benefits of living alone. Yes. If I lived alone, you better darn well believe that I would be in the party having, I'm going to move this a little bit, you guys, so you can see what I'm doing. I would definitely be sitting there with it in the middle of my living room. My entire studio would probably be out in the living room. It would not be in this room. So the kitchen and dining room, yeah, all of that would be sewing studio space if I lived by myself. I would be the hermit quilting lady. All right, so I've got 3 different units. This unit has this dark orange blue fabric. as the sides and is paired with the brick fabric. This unit right here has that orange and blue with the light, dots side. And then these units have the very light cream dots or peach dots with the light cream side. So we're going to see which order I got to put these in. So I'm using my color chart that is on the cover of my binder. All right, as soon as my daughter gets all of her stuff moved out, mine will be in my dining room. Right now, all of the stuff that was in her room is now piled in the dining room. I can understand that. Does anyone do the quilting for those of us that don't want to do our own quilting? Yes, there are people that will do quilting. And you're sending right now off to Donnell. So she will be handling and making sure all the quilting is done. You can check in your local area for quilters who would be doing that. Loretta says that she's going to be getting your pattern, Andrea. She's excited for you. I probably will be too. If I've got the money, I will be getting it. I gotta have the money first. That's gonna be my problem. So yeah, check and see if there's any quilters in your local area that do quilting for charity projects. You can also find quilters who might quilt your projects for you through local quilt guilds. You might have to be a member of a guild, or so you might have to join. For some people, for them to be willing to quilt for you, but that might be an option as well. Quilting in both living room and second bedroom. Last two apartments, my gamma was in the living room. This apartment has big bedrooms, so it got most of the room. That is awesome. I have a quilt store localish, 50 miles away, that does long arm service. They will do it for you, or you can rent their long arm. Yes, that's another good idea, is if you have a quilt shop that will rent a long arm, then that would be a way to do it yourself as well. Let me see. All right, fabric A is this light color. So that is the bottom and top ones. Fabric D is this bottom, is this one. This is going to go at the top. Fabric B is this one, so it's going to go at the bottom. And this is going in the middle. Okay. So I've got them laid out now, so I know which way they're going to go. So we are going to start attaching them. So I have always quilted almost all of my own quilts. I have paid for 2 of them to be quilted. And now Quilts of Valor, the ladies, there are other ladies who will quilt. I just have to make the tops. So if I don't want to quilt one, I just make the top and hand off with batting and backing, and they handle the rest. So I don't have to worry about it. But I quilted all my own quilts on Beauty. I just used a walking foot and did a lot of straight line quilting. I could do free motion on this one, but even at the 10-inch throat that it's got from the needle to the arm, it's just not a lot of room. But I have quilted all the way up to a queen size quilt on this machine. So you can, it's a lot of wrestling. You might set up an extra table or 2 to support the weight of the quilt. But you definitely can go that route and have somebody quilt for you if you want to. Or you can quilt it yourself. So especially if you're donating to like nursing homes or shelters or whatever, they're not going to have somebody to quilt it for you. They barely have the resources for what they need already. So yeah. Andrea says anyone who is a member of In Quilt Effect Renegades group will get the pattern for free. Anyone else will have to buy it. I want to buy all of Fallon's rulers, and this is how I will pay for them. I totally understand, Andrea. So if I can do a channel membership when I get enough, if I give you a free one, do I get the pattern? Just kidding. I totally understand. I have not joined the Renegades yet because we are trying to save to buy a house. So my finances are kind of reserved for other things at the moment. That's where my struggle has been. All right. Got a $59 Singer machine from Walmart that I free motion quilt my queen size quilt on. The struggle was real. You can quilt on any machine. It's just a level of work. Yeah, that is seriously the case. You definitely can do that. Let's see. Giovanna says, Andrea, why thanks a lot. I think she's talking about she's super happy because she's a renegade. Aren't you, Giovanna? I'm going to have Debbie on my channel. Does that count? All right. So I'm going to chain piece, you guys, and I'm going to web piece. Not that these are going together at the end, but instead of cutting them all, I'm just going to go ahead and leave them together. So I've got my top unit, my middle unit, and I'm going to attach the bottom units to all of that. My testers come from that group. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So what size quilt is it, Andrea? What size quilt did you design? Because that Irish chain with a twist is a baby quilt. And then the fat quarter friendly project that I'm going to be doing, once you guys get the name of it, it is a throw and a king. I'm not doing a twin or a lapin, or a twin or a queen in it. I mean, you can always adjust the number of blocks you make, but I just figured those would be the two easiest. This fabric is so soft, you guys. If you have not done a cotton cuts before, this fabric is so soft. It is very pettable fabric. Everybody's super excited, Andrea. I am too, but now I'm kind of jealous. Do I get it for free if I join the Renegades like right before you release it? Can I cash in that way? You know I gotta ask. It's a pixel quilt, so it depends on what size squares you use. I designed this one with 2.5-inch squares. One tester did 3-inch squares. Oh, that's awesome. And 2.5 would be easy to cut from jelly roll strips too. And 2.5 is also a common scrap size. So if you cut your scraps to size, 2.5 is a common size that people cut. I cut 10-inch squares, I've cut 5-inch squares, I cut 2.5-inch strips, and I cut 1-inch squares. Those are my sizes. I don't bother with 2-inch usually. Alright, so now we have all 4 units, so all I've got to do is press, and these will be done. And then I get to go start prepping for the rest of my day. So I know this morning Sean was saying Russ would be on, and I know Katie, if you're still in the chat, Katie will be on later as well, you guys. Call your quilt shop and see if they have a long arm machine you can rent in the store. And I did do actual quilting on a tiny Singer with 6-inch throat for 6 months. Yeah, I have quilted on a much smaller quilt. Okay, Tammy, I will make you a deal. I will give you the pattern if you'll make it on your channel. Okay, deal. You have a deal. You have a deal, ma'am. Once it's tested, once you're ready to release, send it over, and we will discuss, how many episodes or whatever. But yes, you have a deal. I will give you free advertising for the opportunity to make your quilt for free. I am super excited to do that. You guys, I am getting my first deal. I'm getting my first deal for anything. That's so exciting. Lynn says, that is a great deal. Yes, I absolutely agree. Katie, yep, I have a new guest to introduce on my live today. All right. Is there any way you're going to give me a hint of who you're going to invite on your channel today? I want a hint. I want a hint. I want to know. I want to know. Are you going to make us all wait and we have to come to your channel to find out? I mean, I'm still going to come meet them. I mean, it's going to be between doing other projects, but I'm still going to meet them. Do I get a free pass to come see it early? Oh, you guys, I forgot to move you. I'm going to bring you guys over to the iron. So let me grab this. SJE. Whoops. My brain does not compute. I do not know. All right, hang on. I am going to do one thing too. We are going to increase the distance to get this to where you guys can see a little bit more. Because I'm not going back to the machine again. She's one of the design. Oh, that's right. That's right. The Stronger Together. Her name is Mary. Yes, yes. I do remember you saying something. Oh, that'll be exciting. Are you working on one of the Stronger Together blocks while she's on your channel? Is that what you're going to be doing with her? Your first sponsor, Tammy. Congrats. Yes, yes. I am super excited. That's like the most amazing news ever. Most amazing news. All right, you guys. So this is upside down, obviously. From the way that it will appear in the quilt, I'm assuming, or the way that they showed it on the pattern. And I wouldn't necessarily have to starch this here, but I'm going to anyway. I did not starch month 2 by accident because I forgot. And I will probably go back and starch month 2 because I do like the way it looks when it is starched. All right, let's see. Debbie and Donnell are 2 of my testers, and I'm putting links to their channels on the pattern. I will also put a link to Tammy's channel and tell them to watch you for putting it together. Yes, 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 please. Thank you. You are amazing. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that. All right. So you guys, here is 1. There's going to be 4 of them, and they're all going to be the same, but there is 1. So again, 1 unit. So it kind of looks like a little bit of a teepee kind of look. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of unique. Let's see. You have 1 more block to finish, and then it'll be ready for sewing together, Katie. That is awesome. There's what, 4 blocks in that, if I remember correctly? 4 blocks in the Stronger Together. I mean, I am going to be trying to watch. I have so much to do for tonight. So it is almost 11 o'clock here. You need to go and hang out with my fabrics now. You all take care. Thank you, Mitzi. Thank you for being here. Andrea says, if any other channel owners want the same deal, I will work with you as well. No, that needs to be exclusive. Andrea, you offered it to me. It needs to be exclusive. I'm just kidding. You can do whatever. I will not be upset. Chloe says, that sounds cool, Katie. I may have to watch a replay. My dad is coming to visit. Oh, that's exciting, Chloe. It's good to have a visit with Dad. 4 blocks plus those square and square blocks for the board. Oh, that's right. Andrea is asking, Katie, is your live in 3 hours? We're all trying to figure out the time zone. We are crappy at figuring out time zones today. I mean, I was barely functional this morning, so. All right, I may need to order new nibs if these don't wash, because this is just, it is not doing what it should. Okay. Let's see, just finished 5 Christmas stockings. Oh, that's exciting, Lori. That is so exciting. I like having Christmas during the summer. That is awesome. Mitzi says, everyone stay safe and don't be afraid to reach out to one of us if you ever need us. I'm open to PM or anything, anytime someone wants to reach out. Yes, Mitzi, I completely agree. And please hit that thumbs up button before you leave if you haven't already. I want to make sure everybody hits that thumbs up and comes and says that they were here. Just let YouTube know that you do like my content. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific. So it is 11, 12, 1, 2. So yes, 3 hours from now. Andrea, Katie will be live in about 3 hours. I always stretched my seams in my cotton cuts. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. Because this is definitely some super soft fabric. And it would be incredibly easy to stretch this. So I am trying not to stretch it. Andrea says, lol, Katie, that about covers about all of us. Yep. Yeah, I've gotten down all the US time. Bye everyone, says Denise. Bye. Glad you were here. Thank you. Alright, so this is my third one. I've got one more after this, you guys. And then we will be signing off, and you can go grab a lunch or a breakfast or a dinner or whatever time zone you're in before you catch Katie in 3 hours. And I don't know if Russ is live right now at Quilt Meets World. If he is, then you might be catching him on the replay. Absolutely fine. Always, if you like a creator, catch their replay. If you don't catch their live, because replay is always better than no play at all. And even if you don't have time to watch, if you will play somebody's channel for them, just play their video or whatever. Even if you are missing the content because you just don't have time, there's too many of us out there, too many creators to catch every channel. But if you will play the videos on the replay and just let them play in the background or whatever as you're doing something else, that does give that creator watch time. YouTube doesn't care if you are actually physically sitting in front of the camera. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube just cares that the video is playing and playing all the way from beginning to end. If you do cut it off before the end, it actually does hurt your creator. So anytime that you can play your creator's videos all the way to the end, that does help them. It's not as important during a live, from my understanding so far of the analytics. I'm still a newbie. But especially when you watch a replay, if you can hit play and let it play all the way through, that helps your creator a lot, a whole lot. Lori says, we'll be going now. It's time for lunch. Bye, everybody. Yeah, I am. I barely had breakfast. Starting with Donnell, and I will be going for lunch myself here shortly. Lynn says, I'm going out to plant some food, just getting warm enough here for planting. Yeah, I understand that. Andrea said, that's why I put 3 hours from now, because I knew what time it was for me, but wanted everyone to know for them. Perfect. That is great. I do that. I watch not being there. Yeah, absolutely. Vicky is saying, bye all. All right, so this was 4. So here we are going to show, and I'm going to bring you guys over so you're not still sitting looking at my very faded ironing board cover. So here is 1 of 4. This is the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt Tree of Life, clue number 3. And there are 4 identical units in this block. So that was 2. Here is 3. And here is 4. All right, so no magic tricks. They are all there. There is all 4 of them. They are super nice and flat. And I will put my clue number 3 little plastic envelope thingy. Clue number 3, where it says clue number 3. I will put that on top of this and put it back in my box and wait for next month. Andrea says, when Teresa Louise was away, I put on her old videos and just let them play while I sewed. I wanted to help keep her watch hours up. Yes, Andrea, stuff like that really does help. It really does. Charlotte says, that looks great, Tammy. Thank you. Vicky says, interesting colors, Tammy. Yeah, I did not choose the colors. My husband chose the colorway. He chose chestnut for me. I told him to choose something out of the box for me, something I normally wouldn't choose, and he did. Um, and this is how Cotton Cuts has them picked out and laid out. So I'm just following their instructions. So I am going to go ahead and get off of here, you guys. I have been on for almost 2 hours. Normally I'm fine with that and going longer, but I have so much to get done before tonight. And I need a little bit of time to breathe before tonight because I am going to be doing a lot of talking again. It will not be live on YouTube. It will be something I'm doing in person. But I still have a lot to go get prepped for that. I wish it was quilting related, but it's not. So I will be going to take care of that tonight. So I will see you all on Tuesday. That is my next live. Lynn is saying have a super day all. Thanks. Loretta says congratulations, Sammy. Thank you. Pam is saying have a great day. So I will be live Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. It is already set up in the lives column. So if you want to go hit the notifications button, that way you get notified when I go live. I do try to have music going in advance so you guys can get in the chat and so you don't miss anything, because I really struggle sometimes going back and covering everything, because I'd rather you just go back and rewatch versus, droning on and getting all the people who've hung out the entire time sick of hearing my voice. But I will be live Tuesday. I do have some stuff I'm going to show you guys on Tuesday, and we are going to get started on Sparkle. So you guys will... You already hit the bell. Thank you. Yes. If you have not hit the bell for Tuesday night, go back and hit the bell. Get the notification for Tuesday. Hit the thumbs up on this video as you are heading out today. And please, whatever you do, be safe. Be sane about everything that you do. And be kind. If you cannot do anything else in your choice, in your ranges of choices, be kind. So I will see you all Tuesday evening. Have a good afternoon. Have a good Saturday.